Hey everyone, my name is Shauna and welcome to the 12th figure review on my channel. Today is a bit different with a double review of the Momo and Shamiko 1/7 scale swimsuit figures by Kotobukiya. Hailing from the anime The Demon Girl Next Door, you may or may not have heard of it considering I believe it is a high dive exclusive. I very much enjoyed it and I'm hoping for a third season. I pre-ordered Shamiko from the Crunchyroll store and purchased Momo from Tokyo Otaku Mode. Momo is still available there, but not Shamiko, who is in stock at the Big Bad Toy Store, but the price is a bit steep. I do recommend these figures if you're a big fan of the show, but there is a lot of small nitpicks I have with the ones I received, so let's just get right into it. The boxes are your typical Kotobukiya boxes and were honestly pretty minimally packed inside, and I was a bit disappointed in some parts of it. They used tape to secure the signs in, but the adhesive was open to the plastic, and on this sign included with Shamiko, the sign had fully stuck to the tape, so when I removed it, some paint was pulled off in the process. Not too big of a deal since it's hardly noticeable, but I know you hardcore collectors out there would be extremely disappointed in this. We'll start with Momo here, the quiet and sporty magical girl of the series. The overall plastic quality seems a bit low on both these figures, or maybe it's the paint. I'll admit, I don't know anything about the figure creation process, but there are a lot of weird bumps like you see in her hair here. It looks like a cheap paint job, but maybe it's the plastic. Otherwise, the hair is done well, and the obvious seam line here at her bangs is there because it is removable. Her face is clear and sharp, and her expression suits her more shy and quiet nature. Definitely the sort of character who'd be embarrassed to wear a swimsuit. The swimsuit itself looks pretty good, but again, there are more of those weird bumps and some inconsistencies here. Also, you may notice the gaps. Yeah, it looks like she's made of multiple pieces put together. Some of the gaps are more noticeable than others. She also has a towel here that is removable, and I think the extra color looks good. If you look at her back, the gaps are much more noticeable, and the three worst parts of this figure are on her back. This gap on her upper back bothers me. It's very noticeable. She has these odd looking marks out of the box that I have no clue where they came from, and she's damaged down here. Excuse the angle. It does go unseen when she's on a shelf though, it's just confusing to me how she got damaged there in the first place. But look at that. Yeah. And she has an extra scrunchie on her wrist and painted fingernails. Her skin looks good and her legs are believable. Flip-flops also look fine and her toes are painted as well. Included with this figure is the ancestor who is floating inside this inner tube. She doesn't tab in anywhere on the base, and it can be annoying if you're moving the figure around like I am for the review, but otherwise she looks really good and the inner tube even has some prints on it. Let's look at Shadow Mistress Yuko, or Shamiko for short. The real star of the show and heroine of the Demon Girl Next Door, Shamiko looks really good at first glance, and when you get closer, she still holds up pretty well. Her bangs are also removable, and her hair looks good and faithful to the show. I've always thought her horns were pretty cute, and they look just as good as I was hoping them to. Her face holds a slightly surprised and embarrassed expression with eyes that are nice and clean. The open mouth is a bit weird from some angles, but that is very common with any figure that's got an open mouth with any sort of depth to it. She does have the smallest little fang though. I wish it was a bit more pronounced because it's super cute when you can see it. Moving down, we've got her swimsuit. Like Momo, it has some gaps that really emphasize the fact that parts of her breasts were just cut out to make the suit fit in place rather than them looking like they're actually, just shaping them and holding them. The latter is clearly what they were going for, but the gaps ruin that illusion and it's a bit off-putting. Overall though, it's a really cute swimsuit that emphasizes her rather well-developed features. I mean, to reference Eminem, she's got more junk in her trunk than I do in my car. Like, they almost tried too hard. The show is very PG and you only ever see Shamiko in revealing clothing when she transforms, and even then it's not this extreme. She is a high school student, so it bothers me a little about how much they went all out into it, but I know most of you weebs out there couldn't care less and would buy stuff like this without batting an eye. And I might have too if she wasn't still a child. Anyway, being a demon girl, she's got a cute devil sort of tail that is removable. I was surprised at first, and I'm not sure if it was intended, but you can take it out with ease on my copy of the figure. I prefer with it anyways. The tail itself looks posable, but really it's not. A bit of a shame since in the show she is very expressive with her tail, but the plastic feels so cheap I'm afraid I'll snap it. And even with gentle pressure, it doesn't seem to want to hold any sort of extra pose anyway. Her legs look good and those sandals suit her just fine. She does not come with any other accessory. It sucks they didn't include Momo's cat with her since Momo came with Shamiko's ancestor, but the cat really isn't that much of a character, so I get it. Although they did add it in the newer versions. The bases of these figures are essentially the same. They look like they are in the shallow water of the beach with some weird signs behind them. The yellow one represents their character. Momo is a peach-themed magical girl. Momo can mean peach in Japanese. And Shamiko's represents her tail. The other one, well, I know this one represents Shamiko's ancestor. Maybe like a no dumping sign. But this one, I don't really know. I think it references something with Shamiko using Momo's wand to use her magic. But I'm not sure. Overall, very cool octagonal bases that fit together to get essentially two poses with the two girls together. Number 1 and number 2. Number 1 is the intended one, and number 2 looks a bit off since the signs aren't aligned, but I really like the look of number 2 because it's almost as if they're kind of glancing at each other in embarrassment, and it's really cute. Size comparisons. 1/4 scale Hari Bunny version by Freeing. 1/7 scale Uroka Takemono by Fat. Review postponed quite a bit because I've got lots of new stuff coming in. My previous review, the 1/7 scale Holo by QuestQ. 1/10 scale Sento from the Beach Queens line by Wave. Parade Dark Magician Girl. And the Yongwifei Nendoroid, whose review is on my channel. While you can purchase these figures separately, I obviously recommend getting them both. However, that's quite a bit of money. Also, so far from what I've seen, the aftermarket and post pre-order prices are a bit high for them. They seem really cheap and potentially fragile as figures themselves, so it doesn't feel worth it. Shamiko looks really hot, if you're into that. Momo had a bit more quality issues than I'd like, but that might just be specific to my copy, and I'm sure it is. In the end, they do look really good on a shelf. If you have a weakness for swimsuit figures like me and love the show as much as I did, pick these up. Otherwise, maybe check out the other pre-orders for their new school uniform figures that I also pre-ordered. So if you're interested in those but not sure about pre-ordering them yourselves, subscribe because I will be reviewing those when I receive them. Early 2023, April, March, May, who knows. I probably won't do a double review since they release a month apart, but during the second review, I'll include the other to show them off together. While I wasn't 100% happy with these, they are cute and have a nice charm to them, so I give them a thumbs up for the most part. Thank you for watching, and I hope you got something out of it other than the fact that these girls have nice assets. Did you notice? The new things I've got coming this month will be posted on screen, so if you're interested in those, subscribe because they're the next upcoming reviews this month. Good luck on all your figure collecting adventures, and may you find the best of deals. Farewell, my friends.